Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Please, another round of applause for the wonderful Lana S. Trio. Once again, welcome to the European Collaboration Summit 2023. I'm not going to talk very long. I just want to introduce to you all the main instigator of the European Collaboration Summit and all-round legend, Adis Hugo. Please, a round of applause.
Good morning, everyone. This is just great to see you all and everything what's going on, especially if you consider how all of this started. Spencer's doing something around me. Back in 2012, I'm sure few of you know this story. Nena Trajkovski, Tony Frankola, both legends who are present today in the audience, and myself came to a crazy, cunning plan. Let's make the best SharePoint conference in the world. Well, we got 150 people in Zagreb back then. We all looked a bit different. Please don't look at our size, our body size and everything. This was all many years ago. Those things happen for better and worse. But yes, back in Zagreb we had 150 people. Yesterday I was counting with few tickets that have been sold directly on the registration. This year in Düsseldorf in Germany, we are 2,500 people. Delegates, speakers, sponsors, all of us, which makes European Collaboration Summit the largest Microsoft 365 conference in the world. I do not know if we have made the best SharePoint conference, but at least we have got one parameter that we worked. Of course, during the past few years, without going into details, there were quite some challenges we needed to overcome, including health challenges, industry challenges, world challenges, whatever. But here we are, people from 41 countries are today in those two rooms here. In full room and in the overflow room 2, we are people from 41 countries, and yet we are one community. This all would not be possible without all of you who are here from day one about collaboration, about technology, about Teams, about Power Platform, about Microsoft 365, about Viva. This all definitely would not be possible without all of you. And let's celebrate this community, and thank you for being here. Not to forget the people who made all this possible with their supporting us from the day one and throughout everything are our sponsors. At our Expo City, downstairs where all the central activities are going to be, We have got 52 sponsors, which offer great products, great solutions, great services. And you know what? They are nice people to be around anyways. So what I really invite everyone to go down, to talk to them, to see what they are offering. I was quite impressed yesterday by talking to a few of them, and that's what I would also like to invite you to do. Enough from me. I would like to call my brother Mustafa. He's hiding somewhere around those walls.
Good morning. I have a pleasure following after others to tell about equally important part, which is our content. We believe that this year content is very fitting for our anniversary edition and maybe our best ever. Our content team had a very difficult choice to make, a very difficult job to select best out of the over 1,000 submissions that we had. Our topics are varying from all the important topics in the industry, from Microsoft 365, Power Platform, Teams, and many more, of course. This year, we have 142 speakers in our speaker lineup, which is, again, one of the biggest we've ever had. This lineup includes 23 people from Microsoft, from architects to product group members and a vice president. Approximately half of our speakers are Microsoft most valuable professionals, and we also have 7 Microsoft regional directors joining us. We also believe in community and giving opportunity to new people joining our ranks. So this year we have 24 people speaking on the Collaboration Summit for the very first time. Speakers are coming from 19 countries overall, all over the world. And we are certain that over the next 2 days, you will learn tons of new things, you will gain some new skills, and it will be certainly very useful to everyone. Please join the sessions, and our speakers are always happy to be part of the community, not to just present, but discuss and talk to you entire time during the entire event. So, community rocks. Enjoy.
It really is a great pleasure to be back here in wonderful Düsseldorf as part of our one community. Over the last decade, our community has not only survived, but it's prospered. But I'm sure we can all agree that in-person events represent the very definition of the human condition. We can't do this, however, without technology that supports us. Not only us, the organizers, in terms of planning and building agendas and making maps of the venue, etc., but of course, most importantly, for all of you to be able to connect easily within a large venue and so on. And with those concepts in mind, we need to say a great thank you to our event supporter and our application technology provider, Run Events. These are the people who created the application that hopefully you have all installed. If you haven't installed it, you need to do that right now. The app will allow you to collect collab coins from various activities within the expo and elsewhere, such as, and these coins can be used later to collect swag, participate in the sponsors' individual raffles, participate in our prize giveaway, and so on. The top 3, in terms of the coins collected, are up for a Commodore 64 Maxi. And I'm a ZX Spectrum kid, but it's good. And with that, I would like to introduce one of the people who's been with us from the start, the legend that is Vesa Univam from Microsoft.
Good. Thank you. Awesome to see so many people in here. We are fully sold out, as Aris was saying. So thrilled to be back, and awesome to see familiar faces on that side as well. One more time, let's get an applaud for Aris and Mustafa and Spence. Excellent. So my name is Vesa Juvonen. I'm a principal product manager from Microsoft. I'm a 16-year-old, I guess, then a veteran in Microsoft. So I started Microsoft in 2006 within a bit different role, and then evolved to be working within the Redmond organization. What we always want to start these presentations is really to make sure that you understand that you are really the best community in tech, and we absolutely value your feedback, and we are here for you. So thank you everybody for joining one more time. For us as a Microsoft, our community is the biggest asset, giving us feedback and telling us what works and what doesn't work. And so it's crucial that you will keep on giving us feedback, both constructive feedback and positive feedback, right? Because all feedback is super critical for us to understand what works and what doesn't work, and how can we adjust our services and products. You are our customer. We build all of those services and products for you. And we will be successful if you will be successful. So that's why that communication and collecting the feedback is absolutely crucial. And I'm actually quoting this quote and the message from one of our big friends, or one of our big leaders within the Microsoft 365, who happens to be Jeff Teeper. Now, wait, sorry. Sorry, my boss is calling. Sorry, I'll just go on the side. So just making sure that the message is coming through. Sorry.
Hey, Mesa, let me jump in. I am so excited to be here with you at the European Collaboration Summit. It is an amazing event. I know the organizers do a fantastic job making sure that content is deep, high quality, and covers the very latest innovations from us. And I am so grateful for all the work the community does around the world. Hopefully you all know that I've been involved with it for a long time, dating back to the early days of SharePoint, SharePoint Saturdays, and so forth. And of course, our product line has grown, both within Microsoft 365, the connections to Power Platform, Azure, and more. And the community is more important than ever, because given the pace of innovation, you want to connect with other people to get their perspective, to stay up to date, learn best practices, network, and have fun with people who have common interests and passion. And that's what this community has been all about. And it's hard to believe, 10 years. The European Collaboration Summit has been a core part of that, really pulling together, again, the European community around our technologies with the latest high quality content. And so as we head into continuing to iterate on Teams and SharePoint and so much more in the AI era, I think there's never been a better time to be part of the best community in tech. So thanks again, and enjoy the rest of the ECS event. Yeah.
So those who didn't know who that was Jeff Teeper. He's always cited as the father of SharePoint, and SharePoint is actually, there we go. And SharePoint is actually a lot of the first services which then evolved to be, one of the first services which evolved to be Microsoft 365. If you're older and been around within this community for many years, you probably heard about SharePoint Saturdays and all of that. That comes from that era. Nowadays they're called a bit different, but because we're, as Jeff said, the product stack is evolving, and there's more products, services available across Microsoft 365 with Microsoft Teams and Azure and Power Platform and so on. Now, still, it's all about to take the best community in tech. So again, we are here to collect your feedback and make sure that you understand that we build our services for you, which is a critical piece for us. Now, as we talk about the community, let's put that in the front line. So first of all, we want to make sure that you are aware of two main assets. So we have our communitydays.org URL, where you can find all of the different events, in-person events or hybrid events, which the community or Microsoft is organizing throughout the world. So we want to have one centralized location where you can go and find out all of the even local user groups which are available for you to take advantage. The other asset is something which we're partnering together with Power Platform organization, which is our Microsoft 365 and Power Platform community, which has weekly community calls, 1,500, 1,500, more than 1,500 samples, open source projects, and all of other stuff available. We have up to 1,500, 1,500 attendees weekly on those community calls. So you probably want to take advantage of them as well. And by the way, all of those calls are getting recorded. So if you cannot join the call, you can go to the YouTube and have a look on those as well. So please take advantage of these assets. They are there for you to take to benefit. Now, as we talk about the Microsoft 365 and the momentum, before I start actually inviting my friends on the stage, and I can talk about some cool stuff, I wanted to call out a few major, let's say, milestones from the growth of the Microsoft 365. So first of all, we crossed the 300 million monthly active users in Microsoft Teams, which is a mind-boggling number considering the age of the Microsoft Teams. It's still a relatively new product. Now, the SharePoint being one of the older products, which is still alive, has 200 petabytes of new content added monthly. That's petabytes, not gigabytes. That's petabytes. That's a massive number. You can only imagine how much data we have within the SharePoint or in Microsoft 365 storage. And we have more than 100,000 custom applications for Microsoft Teams to take advantage. So if you are a developer or an ISV or thinking on building something for Microsoft Teams, you can actually be part of those ISVs and partners who built to reach that 300 million users directly within the Microsoft Teams in the flow of the work. So great opportunity for everybody. Now, one of the big announcements which we recently did was the Microsoft 365 Copilot. We're not going to deep dive on these things today, but I want to show a few videos which will give you an idea where we are investing. So Microsoft 365 Copilot, it's all about artificial intelligence and machine learning and helping you to be more productive. It's not intended to take your job, not at all, absolutely not. The whole point is making you productive, more productive, so you can be more valuable within your work. And we are introducing the Microsoft 365 Copilot across the Microsoft 365 apps. Of course, with Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, Teams, and much, much, much more. To understand what it actually means in practice, let's have a few videos, and I'm going to walk through what we actually see within those videos. So let's start with Word, because Word is a good example of an Office client. And typically, as we start writing those documents and specifications, we might have a template to get started, but you start from a clean slate. You might be wondering okay, so I start from a white blanket, and then I need to start creating the plan, the specification, or the document, or an article, or whatever you're writing on. Wouldn't it be cool if you could ask a artificial intelligence give you a starting point? So rather than starting from a clean paper, you could ask from the machine, from the computer, give me a starting point, give me something, and I can start modifying. And these are the assets and these are the references. This is the OneNote file, which I actually collected some feedback. Can you give me a structure? And then as I have the structure, I can actually start adjusting that. I can say for the AI that can I adjust that to be more aligned with this another document and use these pictures from this PowerPoint presentation. And then poof, voila, the AI is actually giving you a starting point. Of course, you will still be responsible of the content. You will adjust the content. You own the content. You create the content. But you have something which will get you started, rather than having that writer's block and staring down on the computer screen when you're trying to get the deliveries done, right? You get something which will get you inspired to get moving. That's a really, really cool setup, right? Now, as I come from a SharePoint side, and my history is actually on a SharePoint. I started in SharePoint 2007, and it's been evolving since a lot. I wanted to also raise some of the ideas where we're looking into using Copilot on the SharePoint side, because SharePoint powers actually a lot of the capabilities within Microsoft 365. What we see here is a new welcome page for SharePoint creators, and where we can actually start creating content or sites or pages within a SharePoint. And within this welcome page, we can actually see a Create with Copilot. So rather than, again, starting from creating a site, a template, or creating a site which you already have, how about you tell the Copilot, an AI, what you want? And you can reference the PowerPoint presentation, you can reference the branding guidance, the people who should be owning that site, And the Copilot actually creates the site based on the assets what you're providing. You can even go and say, hey, I don't like the color scheme. Can we adjust that to be a bit on the different things? And voila, the headers and sections and coloring on the site is getting adjusted. So again, rather than having just templates, having something which will, in a fast way, give you or let you be more productive and creating cool-looking sites and creating cool-looking content. That's pretty cool as well. Thank you. Now, as part of this journey as well, as said, I come from a SharePoint background. I've actually even created .com sites at some point with SharePoint. That's, by the way, no longer supported. But it's always been about branding. It's always been about that corporate communication things. And one of the great announcements, which we just did a week or two ago in Las Vegas, which was a great conference as well, is the new UX, the new branding capabilities which we are rolling out with SharePoint and SharePoint Online, which will enable you to create much more engaging sites and gives you more flexibility from the corporate branding perspective to create sites which look pretty, engaging, and getting inspiring with the content what you provide. Again, we're looking into rolling out these UX updates on a SharePoint site gradually. But this one's already, it gives you an idea where we are heading with the capabilities, what you can do with SharePoint from a sense of corporate communications. That's pretty cool as well. Somebody was already clapping there. Thank you. Good. Now, that was kind of an intro just on me on the stage, but what we want to do next is start inviting some of our friends to actually tell what they've been doing and what does the community mean for them. So let's start with my good friend, Lori Pottimeyer, to actually talk about her areas and the things what Lori has been doing.
Hi, Vesa.
I guess we can sit down a bit, so like let's be casual. Okay. So it's okay. So, Lori.
Nice shoes.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that's my way of doing that. Now, nice shoes, by the way, as well. So what does the community mean for you? So what does the community mean for you and your organization? Or what do you actually do? Let's start from there.
What do I do? So I am actually the community lead for Microsoft Teams. I sit within the engineering organization at Microsoft, and my job is to work with community. So we have a real focus on customer-driven activities and hearing from everybody here in this audience and around the world, and that's definitely a priority for Microsoft Teams.
Yeah. What does it mean that you're hearing and listening? What does it change the thing in Redmond because it's so far away across the pond? So,
we can't build a product in a box, right? We don't want to create something that's good for just Microsoft because that's not going to work for everybody else. So it's really important that we hear from different people doing different things in different parts of the world, speaking different languages with different customs and ways that they work.
That's actually a really important piece as well, just collecting across the world. It's not just about certain regions and certain countries to collect that feedback. Do you have any examples related on ideas on what you got? I'm putting you on a spot. We're off the script now.
So. Ideas of what?
Ideas of what has been based on the customer feedback or partner feedback.
Oh, well, absolutely. I mean, we go back to COVID times, right? And there were definitely some things that Microsoft Teams had prioritized prior to COVID happening.
Yeah.
We have a backlog. We have a roadmap that we work off of. And when COVID hit, that went out the window. So there were priorities that we had to make happen to make sure that everybody had access to Microsoft Teams, everybody was able to do their work regardless of where they were, more important than ever before, because they didn't have an option to be in an office and to be around their coworkers. And so we paid very, very close attention to the activities and the feedback that were coming through our feedback portal. And things that were important were no longer important. And things that were low on the backlog all of a sudden became very important. So that was direct feedback that had to happen very, very quickly.
Yeah. And now the product is in an awesome stage, right? So it's working really well. Of course, there was some complications as part of that situation, which came as a surprise for everybody. But
sure,
we were able to deal with that.
Yeah.
Now, as part of the new age, now we're already past the COVID. I remember when I was here the last time, we were still wearing masks and it was a bit different. But now we've started doing innovations related on OpenAI and artificial intelligence. And you brought a video with you, right, to watch on something changes?
I did. Yes, very timely, in fact.
Yes.
Yes, excited to share.
Let's have a look on this video as well.
Do you need to catch up on a meeting you missed or review the key points from when you attended? Intelligent Recap in Teams Premium leverages AI to deliver personalized highlights that help you discover information that matters to you most. Intelligent Recap in Teams will be available after the meeting and provides all your meeting artifacts in one place. You can access it from the calendar view on the new Recap tab. First, you'll notice that you can watch the meeting recorded directly from the Recap page. You can also choose to watch the recording in Microsoft Stream. To help you navigate the meeting recording more efficiently, personalized timeline markers that only you can see display markers within the video when you joined or left the meeting, when your name was mentioned, and when your screen was shared. You can also see moments when your name was mentioned on the Add Mentions tab on the right side. Below the video, you will find additional tabs that help you jump to different points in the video recording. The first tab is the Speakers tab, which shows you speaker timeline markers for who spoke during the meeting, when they spoke, and allows you to jump to that moment. Speaker timeline markers are intelligently organized by who you work most closely with, so you never miss feedback shared from your manager in a meeting again. The Topics tab identified keywords and topics from the meeting and the timestamps where they were discussed. The Chapters tab divides the meeting into sections, so you can skim the key content and pick and watch sections that you're most interested in. On the Recap page, you can also find the shared content from the meeting. Below the shared content, you will find more highlights from the meeting, including loop notes. The Notes tab will have any manual notes that were captured in loop. On the AI Notes tab, you'll see key points and takeaways after the meeting with AI-generated notes automatically created and powered by GPT. Below suggested notes, you'll find suggested tasks. Follow-up is easy with AI-generated tasks and action items automatically suggested for you. Lastly, you can use the transcripts and the chat tabs to access the meeting transcript and the meeting contents.
That's actually pretty cool. So, awesome stuff.
I know, right? Woo!
No, we were just chatting with Victor Villain last week related on that if you're on vacation or you're basically coming back to work, you don't want to watch 25 different recordings and all of that stuff. That's going to save tons of time.
You know we have 252% more time in meetings. That's insane.
That's insane. Way too many meetings. So.
Yeah, so I'm really excited about this, not only just for myself, but also because I'm running a lot of feedback calls, and it's really important for me to have our PMs that are working on these features know exactly what people are saying, and it's impossible for them as well to hear all of the different recordings from all the customer meetings and MVP meetings and everything where people are giving feedback. So this is a really great way where they can immediately see their section of what's important, what they're working on, and what people are saying.
Yeah. We are using that internally in Microsoft, and it's actually amazing to see that AI-generated summaries on the key points. It's just mind-boggling how it actually works so efficiently. So.
Yeah, and now in public preview.
And now in public preview, available today, which is really, really cool. Thank you, Laurie, for that one.
Thank you.
Now, good. Let me actually then introduce the second person to talk about a bit different scenario and a bit different audiences, because we have also end users and IT pros and developers in the audience. So let me introduce Gary Trinder to talk about a bit about developer topics as well. I didn't. Good seeing you. So Gary, can you do a quick intro of who you are?
Sure. So my name is Gary Trinder. I'm a cloud developer advocate, and I work for Microsoft in developer advocacy. Yeah.
What does that mean in practice?
What does that mean? Well, I want every developer who's building on Microsoft 365, whether that's SharePoint, whether that's Teams, to have the best experience possible. We're not quite there yet. We have good tools, we have, great resources, but we can always do better. And I'm here to listen to developers in the room. If you have any feedback, anything that you want to share with us, then I can take this back to the product teams that actually work on the tooling, and I work with them on a daily basis, and we have plenty of discussions around, how can we make the best tools possible, and how can we make this experience fantastic, which makes you even more productive and, gets you able to build more amazing solutions than what you're already doing on the platform as well. We just want you to, have every chance possible to be successful.
Yeah, and Gary is, by the way, a great example. Well, first of all, your role is a great example of us as a Microsoft investing on collecting the feedback, because that is really the primary role of Cloud Advocate, right?
Exactly, yeah. It's advocacy on both sides. So, I'm here today on behalf of Microsoft with our tooling. So I'm going to be doing sessions and talking around the new tooling that can help you as developers. But on the other side, I'm advocating on your behalf inside Microsoft as well. I am effectively, to the engineering teams that I talk to, I am a
Echo
developer.
chamber,
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Yes.
So the feedback that you can give today, or just even online as well, directly to us, is really valuable, and it goes really far. So yeah, if you ever have feedback, don't just think, oh, no one's going to listen. We are here to listen. I'm literally here to listen. I'm being paid to listen.
Yes, yes. And by the way, you're an awesome example on actually an ex-community member kind of. You're still part of the community. I'm not saying that Microsoft isn't part of the community.
Exactly, yeah.
But you used to be a community member, then an MVP, and again getting hired at Microsoft, right?
Yeah, so actually, watching Jeff talk about SharePoint Saturdays, the old kind of, conferences that we had, that's where I started, like 2011, having, been at a SharePoint Saturday in the UK, 400 people, and being exposed to the community, and then going and speaking at local user groups as well, which we're really fortunate that we've got really great user groups in the UK, that I was able to speak, and then obviously everything goes online, PNP, the community calls, getting involved in open source as well, with the open source projects. That whole time period is my career, and the community has played a role in every single part of that. So yeah, it's without the community, I literally would not be here.
Yeah.
I
can relate on that, and I guess Laura can relate on that as well, because that's such a fundamental piece of our careers and roles as well. Now, you did bring a video as well, right?
I did, yeah.
Let's have a look on what you had. I think you're doing the explaining of what we're seeing live.
Well, I'm going to play this in the background. I'm going to talk about it.
Okay.
Basically, this video is in 3 minutes. I'm going to show you how to build a bot in Teams, from installing the tooling all the way through it to running on your developer tenant and actually being able to run code and debug it as well. So whilst I'm talking, you can watch this in the background, but what I'm going to talk about is the actual tooling that it's using. So it's Teams Toolkit. This is the version 5. So if you have seen any announcements, last week we announced the V5. So this is generally available. You can go and download this now and install it and try it. And it's a great evolution of where our tooling has got to. So if you've ever used Teams Toolkit, the V4 version, there's some huge improvements in V5 that allows you to have a flexible build chain that you can see exactly what's happening. So when you just hit F5 and lots of things magically happen in the background, or resources are provisioned for you, authentication's handled for you, apps are installed. You can see all of that, and you can change it to whatever your needs are. If you have existing resources, you've built a project that doesn't use Teams Toolkit, you can just bring those resources in really easily, just pass the IDs into the files, and it will just pick them up and run with it. So it's really, really flexible. But the main thing is it gets you up and running incredibly quickly. What I'm showing on screen today, if you wanted to do this manually, you would probably be there for, if you're fast, maybe 10, 15 minutes. But if you're doing it for the first time, it could be quite complex, quite confusing at times. The tooling is taking that away from you and letting you get on with the job of adding value to the application, building in the business logic, not dealing with all of the scaffolding, to get you up and running quickly. And when you are there, the toolkit has also provided you with all of the options then to move from your local development environment into Azure. So it's all baked in that you can use the toolkit to then provision this app into your test tenants or for end users to use. I'd provision all those Azure assets as well, and it's all in one project. So everything is there in one place. You've not got lots of scripts all over the place, which you'll have when you're building these solutions. One thing as well, in which we've heard this direct feedback from developers, is when building bots, you have to use a tunneling service, and generally that tunneling service that people use is a tool called ngrok. We heard from enterprise developers that this was a big stumbling block. Because in the enterprises, ngrok was not able to be used. So you had to come up with different solutions. Well, in version 5, we're happy to say that there's no longer dependency on ngrok. You can still use it, but it actually uses Visual Studio Dev Tunnels now by default. So you don't have to bring another tunneling service with you. You can just use what is already there. So again, that's a great example of feedback that we've heard, that we've been able to speak to the engineering teams, the teams building the products, and build that straight into to unblock people.
Yeah.
So I believe it has finished, and that was under 3 minutes, and there is a bot running, and can just develop it, so it's super fast.
What we're seeing here is a debugging.
Debugging is breakpoint,
Yes.
So you get debugging
breakpoint.
straight from the off as well. So as you're watching that, you get some default code that just works. It does something ready so that you've got a good starting point. But you have that ability to then debug and iterate really fast as well, which again is something that we've heard from developers. Building Teams app is a painful experience. It's a lot of stop and start. So this just speeds up that process as well.
Yeah. Absolutely. So there's kind of a few different messages there. So first of all, if you're an end user, business decision maker, you don't care about development, it's actually great to know that there is 100,000 applications available in the Teams store. So if you're looking into a functionality which is missing, or you want to integrate to some alternative solution or your LOB systems, there might be an application available for you to take advantage. If you're a partner or a developer, we are investing heavily on making this tooling more approachable and easier to use and more automatic. So again, increasing the productivity of developers to make it easy to build the Teams applications.
Exactly.
Cool. Thank you, Gary, for that one. Really, really cool. Good. Let's then move our good friend Dan Holm, who's been with us for many, many years in CollabSummit. Great seeing you.
Great to see you, Vesa.
As well. Can you do a quick intro who you are? Or should we go to the next slide and be
Sure,
kind
I'll say a little bit. So my name's Dan Holm. I'm a principal group product manager on the Viva Engage team. And Viva Engage, as if you missed the memo, is the rebranded experience for Yammer. So I am honored to lead a team that has been in the process, since we saw each other last here in this very conference center, of rebuilding Yammer and becoming part of the Viva family, introducing new capabilities that are available to all Microsoft 365 customers, and premium features that are available for leadership, communications, and knowledge sharing.
Really, really cool. Now, can we talk a bit about your history as well? You've been around us with the European Collaboration Summits for years, right?
I have. I was here in the early days of SPC Adriatics. Woohoo!
Yes.
And my history is definitely one that has been part of the community. The community has been key to my own career and my own success. And I have found the community has been just so welcoming to me as an American, particularly over here in the European community. So it's been a phenomenal journey of now about 15 years for me with the community here.
Yeah, which is really cool. Yeah, and you were an MVP as well, right? So you were doing a lot of that stuff with the community and those events and all of that stuff. So.
I was sharing and learning here at these events and events all over the world, as well as becoming an MVP at one point.
Yeah. Absolutely. Now, you brought us some ideas as well. So should we go, if I move forward on the
Sure,
thing?
absolutely. So I did want to spend a few moments reminding people what Viva Engage is as part of the Viva family. Yeah, you can go ahead and...
Yep.
Yeah. Viva Engage is about connecting people across the organization, across teams, across business silos, so you can achieve some key business objectives, one of which is to build community, foster inclusion, support diversity, to share knowledge, answers, and ideas by connecting people across teams so that you can find answers from other people in the organization, share diverse perspectives, innovate, and ideate. Engage leaders and employees, and I have a session later on today specifically about Viva Engage for leaders and communicators. And finally, to communicate and engage at scale by having a tool that does allow you to reach from the executive suite to the front line, from information workers to remote workers and everyone in between.
That's really, really cool.
One thing that Viva Engage lets you do is create a more effective hybrid work organization. And my own situation is very representative of that. During the pandemic, I actually moved from Redmond, where I was working locally at Microsoft, to Arizona. And I haven't seen much of you since I moved to Arizona, so I did bring you a little gift from Arizona. This is some candy from Arizona. And for those of you who aren't going to be able to see this, do you want to describe what you see?
This is, what? What is this? Oh, it is actually, is that a scorpion? Or, yeah, it's a candy with scorpion inside of it.
Yeah, so I'll let you eat that while I sit here and talk more. No, I'm just kidding. You don't have to do that. But I did want to say a few other words. We mentioned Copilot earlier, and we are bringing Copilot to Microsoft Viva as well. And I'd love to share a little bit with you about what Viva Engage is doing with Copilot. And these are capabilities that we'll be introducing later on this year. So we actually have them already working inside of our own dog food environment at Microsoft. Viva Engage is all about connecting and communicating, and so Copilot really helps you do that more effectively. As Vesa suggested with Word, it helps you learn how to start from a blank canvas and gives you suggestions of what you can post to connect and engage with people. It writes your first draft. It can even help shape the length and the tone of your post so that it sounds more appropriate from your own voice and for your audience. It can make your post more engaging by suggesting images to add, and it can even anticipate questions your audience will ask so that you can proactively answer those questions in your post. Now, of course, in the end, you own what you're posting. It is just there to help you be a more effective communicator. But it does that, and then it helps you understand more effectively how your post is resonating with your audience by summarizing the reactions on a thread, for example, helping you understand what were the key sentiments and themes of your audience's reaction. So Copilot and Viva Engage should really help leaders and communicators do their jobs much, much more effectively. And we're looking forward to bringing those to you.
Yeah. And this is a good slide as well. We talked about this one before the presentation, but the AI and Copilot, that's a bit scary, isn't it?
Yeah, it's funny. Whenever I talk with customers, they have two reactions simultaneously. We're so excited for Copilot, and we are terrified of Copilot. How many of you can relate to that? Yeah, a few.
The whole audience went, yes.
I'll start with the scary part. People are concerned about Copilot, as well they should be. You should be thoughtful about introducing any new technology to your organization. And we certainly have shared a lot about how we're building Copilot on top of our foundation of trust, security, compliance, and privacy. We'll be doing that more here, and this week is Build in the United States. We'll be announcing more about Copilot there. But the bottom line you should know is, in the end, Microsoft does run on trust. We are nothing without giving you the tools to ensure your data is secure, compliant, and that privacy is manageable. So we're in that business perhaps even more than you are. Any one of our customers' data, violating that trust violates that trust for all of us. So we're in that journey with you, and we're here to help you evaluate the technology. What I really would like to share is about the excitement. So we announced the partnership with OpenAI back in January, I think it was.
Yep.
And in February, we have a week called FHL, Fix, Hack, and Learn Week, where all of our engineers stop their day job and they explore something they want to learn about. And this February, everyone wanted to explore these new AI technologies. So they worked on integrating OpenAI technology into our product in real code inside of Microsoft. And then at the end of the 4 days of development, the 5th day was lightning talks, a full day of 5-minute talks where they showed off what they had built in just 4 days integrating AI with our products. And it was the single most inspiring day of my entire 30-year career. It literally was mind-blowing. And I am so excited to bring this stuff to you, that all of us are going to be bringing these technologies to you over the coming months. It's going to be a really, really great journey. So we look forward to partnering with you on it.
On upcoming months, and of course evolving that throughout upcoming years as well.
Absolutely,
and one thing to call out about being scared about the Copilot, we have explicitly said we will never use your data, your information, your assets to train the machine learning and AI. That's not how this works. So your data is always owned by you. We're Microsoft, we will not touch that or use that data or information to train the machine.
100%.
Cool.
100%.
Thank you, Dan, on that.
Absolutely.
Yes.
The last note I'd like to make, if you want to take one picture of one slide, it would be this one. We are happy to introduce that you can sign up for trials of the premium Viva Engage features. This is a form that you can fill in to request a trial for your organization, and that will help you experience the new features we've introduced to connect leaders and employees, to enable communicators to reach and engage people across the organization, and to share knowledge, answers, and ideas with our new Answers application.
Excellent. Awesome. Thanks, Dan, for that one. Really, really cool.
Thank you, Vesa. And thank you all.
Excellent. So let's move on our journey. We have a few more guests coming in on the stage and showing really cool capabilities. And if I'm watching, somebody should be waiting over there. Let's invite Jason Himmelstein to talk about his areas. Jason.
Now that's community.
This is water.
Hi. Had to be good for something.
Whenever someone says Copilot, just take a sip.
I didn't say what was in it, so. Spence handed it to me, so it could be anything.
That's true. Now, Jason, can you talk about who are you and what do you do for a living?
Absolutely. So, hi, my name is Jason Himmelstein. I am a member of the Power BI CAT team. I'm on the product team for Power BI. And I work with the world's largest customers, helping them adopt Power BI, and also I'm responsible for part of the feedback loop into engineering to make sure that we're improving our products in the right way. So we're listening to you, to echo what Gary was talking about earlier, always listening, always trying to figure out how we can make our products better.
So you said that you are from a Power BI CAT team. What about the doc team?
No.
I'm more a dog person.
I have 2 cats, though.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
But Vesa, I do have to tell you, I do appreciate the fact that we went sockless because I got to show off my Power BI socks.
Yeah. And I don't know if you noticed, in my socks it says R and L.
Yeah,
so
but you
I
have
know
them
where's
on the
right
feet.
and left. It's a good reminder for me, you know. Now, can you talk a bit about your history as well? You come from a community side as well. You were an MVP and then...
Technically, I'm Dan Holmes' fault.
There we go.
So I got my start speaking because Dan actually put me up to speak at a SharePoint conference that was a road show back 2008. So Dan and I met when we were both working for the same customer, and I wasn't a big fan the first time I met him until about 5 minutes into it, figured out what this community thing was and just fell in love with it and started speaking and became an MVP in both SharePoint and back in the old SharePoint days, and then in data platform for Power BI, and eventually became a regional director, and now I work at Microsoft. So I sort of got vacuumed in.
It's interesting how many of the people are actually nowadays ex-MVPs and being part of the community and getting, starting working in Microsoft, which is a great career path. No wrong with that if you're interested in doing that. Now coming back on, I have to say the CAT team, that means customer advisory team,
That is
right?
correct. We are the customer advisory team.
Yeah.
Because Microsoft teams, so we like the duplication there. And so we're really good at naming things at Microsoft. So
we certainly practice a lot.
Now, Jason, let's go back to the business a bit,
Yes.
if you don't mind. He's, by the way, will have a session. Everybody will have sessions throughout the week, and they're pretty funny. Now, I'm not as funny. You know, I'm the silent Finn.
Yeah.
We Finns, the shy people.
Yeah,
now,
I can tell.
Yeah. But let's jump on your video. You brought us something. Do you want to do a quick intro?
So, but before we get to the video, I do want to mention. So, I'm here talking about Power BI, but Power BI and collaboration have this great love affair, right? But up till now, we have not been able to really visualize Power BI in the Microsoft 365 world. You've always had to go over to Power BI to go to the service in order to be able to do that. Well, we're gonna learn just here in just a minute about how that's changing. So.
Excellent. Let's move on the video and have a look on that.
Let's take a look at the new Power BI integration with OneDrive for Business and SharePoint experiences. In this example, Adele is an author who is collaborating with her coworker, Lynn, on a sales and return report that will eventually be published to the Power BI service for enterprise-wide distribution. After a bit of work, Adele has created a beautiful report in Power BI and saves her report for the first time. The new save experience prompts her to enter the name of the report and choose the desired save location. If she can't find what she's looking for, she can also select the More Options button at the bottom left. This allows her to explore more save location options. After selecting the desired location and naming the file, Adele clicks Save. Adele chooses to save the report in a SharePoint location so that she can easily share the file with co-authors and always have a backup of her work in the cloud. When Adele looks online in the specified SharePoint folder, she can now see that the report was successfully uploaded to her SharePoint document library. After making some additional changes, the report is ready to be shared with her coworker Lynn for review and potential edits. Adele selects the familiar Share button seen in other Microsoft 365 products. Adele includes a message asking Lynn to review the report and make any necessary edits. Adele clicks Send, and Lynn will be notified via email. When Lynn signs into Outlook, she sees an email from Adele, notifying her that a report has been shared with her. Lynn then clicks on the link provided to open a preview version of the report directly in her browser. She chooses to open the report further to explore the data and explore the bookmarks that Adele has created and saved through Power BI Desktop, such as the key influencer visual that gives detailed insights into customer segments. Lynn decides she would like to make a small edit to the report. Lynn opens Power BI Desktop and navigates to the File menu, where she can easily find and open reports saved in OneDrive and SharePoint. She clicks on the Sales and Returns report from her Global Sales SharePoint library to open it. Lynn makes her changes to the report and clicks the Save icon at the top left. The changes are saved to the SharePoint location originally shared with her by Adele. With all the changes to the report now final, Lynn publishes to the Power BI service for broader enterprise distribution.
There we go.
So big thanks to Lauren Faber, who's the PM on this, who did that video for us. It's very, in my opinion, this is bringing us a lot closer together from the ODSP side of the world, that OneDrive and SharePoint experience, and being able to save. Because in Power BI Desktop, when we actually craft reports, you have to save locally.
Yep.
And with known folder move, you're saving it to OneDrive, most likely. So being able to do all of that and then share from there, it's just a better experience for a lot of folks when they're doing small team collaboration than saving it off to a document library. Because today, we don't have the Git integration that we'd really love to have. Now, I will encourage everyone here, as you're watching this, whether you're watching it in the live stream room or watching it online or being here in the room, tonight we're making some really major announcements, world-changing announcements at Microsoft Build. Okay? Please go off and take a look. And tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., myself, my colleague Gabby Munsters, and John White are going to be doing a session on the Teams stage, which, from what I hear, is awesome. It's not just a stage. You got to come check it out. We're going to be talking about all of those announcements that get made tonight. So if you have questions about it, stop by and ask us questions, because it's the most revolutionary thing that we have done in Azure Data ever.
That's impressive. That is a great teaser, by the way, for coming up on. Yes, absolutely. Now, how do we get this one working? So you had some settings which you needed to follow.
Very simply, this is something that, first of all, has to be enabled by the Power BI admin. So it's not something, what you just saw isn't something that's on by default. It is something that you have to go in and turn on. You should read the limitations about it. And then when you're publishing in using Power BI Desktop, you do have to go in and enable the preview feature, because this is a preview feature today. It will go GA eventually, but to do that, you do have to go turn on a preview feature.
Yeah, and just to clarify, ODSP means OneDrive SharePoint, and that was part of the video we talked about. It showed OneDrive, but straight in SharePoint, because it's technically the same thing.
Correct.
Yes, excellent. But thank you, Jason. This one, really, really cool to see those improvements. Any other teasers you want to do on Pouch SSL?
No, do you need another drink?
No,
Are we good?
I'm fine. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah,
right,
that was strong enough.
Good.
Should be good. Excellent. Thank you, Jason. Now, we still have a few more visitors to jump on the stage and do and show stuff. Let me invite Victor Villain from Microsoft as well. Excellent. And do you want this candy with the...
No, but
yeah.
you want to talk about Eurovision?
Oh, Eurovision, yes.
Who won?
Swedes versus Finns, cha-cha-cha, cha-cha-cha, cha-cha-chaos the third. No.
Exactly, yeah. Only for
okay.
Europeans.
Yes.
I actually watch TV.
So that was a Eurovision joke. For those who do not follow Eurovision, would be probably highly confused on that one. Anyway, so Victor, let's talk about you as well. So a bit about your background. What do you do for a living?
What I do for I'm a principal PM at Microsoft in our Microsoft People system. So the team that I'm working is owning all the strategy around people data, people information, people relationships, contacts, and all those kind of things. So we don't have a product such as Viva, Teams, and those kind of things, but we exist everywhere. And we'll talk about that in a bit. But I'm super happy to be here. I just looked at my old OneDrive when sitting down there at the sessions I did at the first SPC Adriatics, which was upgrading SharePoint 2010 to 2013, so content database attached and those kind of things, but also how to build your own WOPI server. That's essentially how you build your own Office web app server. And yeah, so I didn't work for Microsoft back then. I evolved both personally, but also, and yeah, gray hairs and all those kind of things since then. So, but now I'm working for Microsoft, been there for 2 years, so it's super exciting. Yeah, and I think it's the most exciting time in tech that I ever been part of. So, with everything that's happening, we talked about co-pilots and stuff in here, and, but it all comes down to people data, which we'll talk about in a bit. Yeah, absolutely. So Victor is also an ex-MVP, like you mentioned, and being part of the community, and this journey has for many, many years. So really, really cool. Yep. Now, you talked about that it's most exciting time of the industry. It's always, is it really, or is it, can you elaborate that on bit? Because it's always when we introduce something as a Microsoft, we're like, hey, this is the most exciting thing. I've been loving tech since I was a kid, since I sold my first computer program when I was 14 years old. So I've always been in tech, right? But there's just something happening right now. This is something that actually profoundly can change how we work, how we interact, and how we meet. I just read this morning about large language models, the Meta's new language model that can translate 4,000 different languages, and 1,200 of them in real time, I think. Imagine how the impact that has on the people of the world, right? When we can talk to each other in real time, but with different languages. So I think it's super exciting with these kind of things that are happening right now. Yeah. And we're bringing that tech into M365. We mentioned co-pilots a couple of times, and there's research showing that people actually will pay money out of their own pocket to get these tools in their day-to-day work, because they can feel that they can do their work better, and also they can do not a better job, but also get better work-life balance and all these kind of things. So that's why I think it's super important. Absolutely. I think part of this, let's say, industry journey throughout the years, it's always about increasing the abstraction, making I started my career on writing assembler in the really low-level CPU-level commands, and I'm watching Mark on the front row raising his hand that he can relate on that. But it's basically raising the abstraction and make it easier to build Teams applications, or making it easier to take advantage of OpenAI and artificial intelligence. Again, every single time something like this happens, we are a bit horrified and scared.
And we've seen this in the past, but then we gradually understand that, oh, it's just an abstraction layer. Now we can be more efficient on other areas as well.
Absolutely, and this is a journey, right? We're starting it right now, and I think you all want to have co-pilots in your hand, but as we talked, you mentioned a lot of you before here, we're taking it slowly here. We need to understand the impact it has and those kind of things, not just talking about the cost of running these kind of things, but the different thing. But we need to tread carefully and ensure that we have, do it safely for all our users and all the information that we store for you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, you brought us something. It's not a video, but...
No, I'm not that fancy. I have 2 slides with essentially 2 screenshots, but I want to show this one, the people card. And I think this is one of the features that our team is delivering. It's probably one of the most interesting features that goes across all M365 application. And this profile view or people card actually introduces one person to another person 100 million times a day. So this is the first contact you get with someone if you're in the M365 ecosystem. And it's continuously being evolved. First of all, it has to be performant and all those kind of things, but we're adding more features into it right now. So as you can see, you have the out of office in there. You can see the working hours, if they're working remote or if they're at the office. We're adding some highlights in there, so it might be their work anniversary, their latest documents that they're working on, etc., etc. So this is super important. And talking about Copilot, the data in here, if you don't have proper data about your users, Copilot's not going to work good for you. So you need to ensure that your AAD data or the profile data are actually up to date.
And that was an IT administrator on the crowd.
Yeah. And we're looking into multiple ways of doing that, not just AAD data, but it might be through the new Microsoft Profile APIs. And I will talk about them later today, so if you want more details about that, please join me. The other hero scenario we have is the Org Explorer, a fairly new, I would say it's almost like a product that we do have. We don't sell it separately as its own SKU, but it's a part of the Viva suite. You get the Org Explorer, and that's sort of the organization view. There's some really cool stuff happening on this one as well. This is just the first version. Dan mentioned the FHL. We've done some really cool FHL stuff around this, specifically how to pivot the organization in different kind of shapes and views and those kind of things to actually find what's really important for you and how you view and perceive this organization and find information.
Yeah, and internally we've been using this for years. This is actually my go-to application always to check on
exactly.
Where people are
you might have heard about the Who Plus, which is an internal application, has some additional things as well, but we want to bring those things over. And as you said, that's the first, when someone calls me or I get an email, yes, I take a look at the people card, but I also use Who Plus to understand sort of where are they in the organization to get that bigger picture and not just on that people card.
And who they're working with and all of those connections,
exactly.
Which is really, really cool. Awesome capabilities which are available for customers. Is it soon or already?
Yeah, this is already out there. So you can get that. You get the organization view, you get the sort of the manage, change, direct reports and those kind of things. I think it might be in preview or it's out there, the Viva topics integration as well. So you can see, if you look at someone, you can see what they're working on and what kind of topics they're also associated to.
Cool. Really, really awesome stuff. Thank you, Victor, on that one.
Thank you.
Awesome. And then let me invite the last visitor within the stage. I guess we can squeeze somewhere on the. No, it's good. It's good. He's small. So I'll let Waldek to come on this stage. But Waldek, join us. Excellent. Good to see you again. You'll have the good seat. Yeah, you can have that. Excellent. Oh, there we go.
Thank you. Everybody.
So Waldek, can you do a quick intro? Who are you and what do you do for a living?
Yes, I can. So I am M365 Dev Advocate, basically the same team as Gary, right? And as he said, we are our job is really twofold: to tell you about all the cool things that we build for you devs to be able to build on top of all products that we build, Viva, people experiences, basically everything that you can do within M365 Teams, of course, duh, right? So to let you know what kind of cool things you could build, so one, but two, going back, like being your voice to our teams internally so that they can learn, where can we improve? What else would you like to see to work more effectively and to empower everybody in your org to actually do more with M365?
Yeah, that's a great organization. And I'm working super closely with Gary and Waldek in our community areas as well.
I think we talk to each other like 5 times a day, every day?
Pretty much, yes.
On weekends too? No.
We're pretty close from a time zone perspective because I'm a bit of a strange person who works from Finland, even though I'm working in a Redmond organization, which makes my working hours a bit strange. Coming back on working remotely and having that power to understand and catch up on what's happening again outside of working hours as well. Now, Waldek, you brought us something as well.
Yes, I have. I don't have a candy for you, but I've got a video. So
yes,
you want to play it?
Let's have a look on the video, and I think you'll explain what.
Yeah, totally. Right. So we have this cool ability where you can build a dashboard for your org, right? And that is really this first experience that allows you to really quickly tap into the different things that are going on. And the cool thing is that you can extend it with custom cards that you can build, and they are named adaptive card extensions, right? You build them with SPFX, and if there's one thing that we know, is that SPFX is being used a lot. Like, I don't know if we can share anything more about it, but it's a lot. It's big, right? It's being used a lot. And the cool thing is, like, as you've seen here, like, you start with a card, you start with this quick overview, and from there you can go deeper into additional things, right? Right now, we are in a custom build app, which is shown inside Teams, which is in the place where you actually work, right? And we know many folks spend their days, so you can bring all of the data about whatever you want, whatever is meaningful to you, right? So in here you will see things like orders, products that are being sold, revenue streams, and so forth and so on. But the cool thing is, you can do that not only in Teams, because since a bit, you have the ability to actually bring the same app into Outlook, right? Like, why would you care? Well, because imagine you have this cool app and you use it a lot. Why would you have to go to Teams to use this app? Why not have that app readily available for you wherever you are? And if that is Outlook, it's just one click away. And the cool thing is, again, it's all based on SPFX. So you can use your existing skills, literally, right, to build for SharePoint, Viva, Teams, Outlook, and now the M365 app too, right? So you build it once, truly once, and basically expose the app wherever you want it to be so that it's very easy for you to use, right? And the cool thing is also that it works on your phone too. So it's not only on desktop. Yes, like the demo you see is on desktop, but it works on your phone perfectly fine too. And here we will go into a little bit more tech. So devs among us, we will show code on a video. So basically you will see like how does that fit in? How do you use SPFX to build or to expose your app in Teams, Outlook, and Office, right? It's basically you only need these two lines. So with that, it becomes a Teams app. So just the two things, right? You add that to manifest, and then boom, it becomes instantly available. And then the moment you increase the manifest, you will also be able to show the same app in Outlook and Office, right? So just these two changes. Yes, it's code, but it's not the main code. Like, you don't need to write something else and copy paste code. Like, no. You just do few small adjustments in the manifest. So being kind of telling what kind of type of app it is, but you're not really changing the code itself. And I think that is really a powerful thing, because it saves everybody so much time, allowing us basically to make an even better use of M365, right? No matter where we are, right? So this is a really cool ability that I think your team has built for a part.
Yeah, I might be partly involved in this.
Yes, there you go. So clap for Vesa.
Cool. Thank you, Waldek. And again, like a similar story as with Gary, even though we talk about the developer experience, the whole point of here is that any application which is in the Microsoft Teams app catalog provided by a partner can be extended now to be available in Outlook or in Microsoft 365 app. Works across the desktop and the mobile, so people can easily access the information regardless of the device they're using or the application where they're used to use. Some of us are in Teams, some of us are more in Outlook. It's still available in the context of the work, which is really cool.
Yep.
Great. As I mentioned, as we've gone through, every single person within the stage will have further sessions throughout the week. There's going to be a massive number of sessions. Oh, you don't?
I only do one.
Sure. There's going to be a huge amount of great sessions through the community members, through MVPs, through Microsoft throughout this week. Please do take advantage of them. Take advantage of the expo area, which is opening right about now after we are closing this keynote. So please go and visit those partners, have a discussion with them. They show technologies and innovation, what they build on and provided on top of the Microsoft 365 experiences. But with all of that, I think it's time to say thank you, everybody. Sorry.
One more thing.
One more thing. Before we go to the thank you, everybody, for the developers especially, we will have a joint Microsoft and Teams Global Hackathon or Teams Global Hackathon happening in the June 1st to June 15th. So if you're really looking into understanding or building applications on top of Microsoft Teams and Microsoft 365 using the Teams toolkit, this is the event where you want to be. Anything you want to
Exactly that, right? So the really cool thing is, all of you came here to learn, right? And we also know that there is another event going on in the US, Build, right? So these two events are probably the best chance for you to learn about this new cool tech that we've got to offer. But what is even a better thing to learn, where you can actually put that in practice, right? So we thought like, hey, how about we organize a hackathon for all of you, for everybody across the world, where we will get together for 2 weeks virtually and hack away based on everything that we have, everything that is new, everything that you've ever wanted to try, and build some cool apps. And who knows, you might stand a chance to win a prize. So with that, I would highly, highly encourage all of you to give it a try and join us, because there's nothing for you to lose. You can only win.
Yes, excellent. Thank you, Walter. But with that, we're running out of time. So thank you, everybody, for joining European Collaboration Summit. Thank you for the organizers. Thank you for the attendees. And please join the sessions and go to the expo area. Thanks, everybody.